Let's take a look at the euro dollar for our August 20th coming session. And we're going to start with the weekly chart. Again, we talked about before a couple weeks ago how price had been playing between the 382 and the 50 fib, still playing in there. Again, even though we're having choppy price action, up and down, it's still grinding to the upside. We do have a nice little short-term trend line here that we'll see on the daily chart. Let's move on down. There's a nice trend line. Now, what we want to be cautious about when we get into this daily trend line is this close below this level. What we're going to do, even though this is where the general price is right in here, price line right through here, this trend line, you can see it's not just on the lows. I'm going to draw a trend line on here that's going to capture that, and it's going to go from here to here. And what we have now is a zone that price can play in. And as you can see, price is playing between these two trend lines. And we're going to consider this kind of like no man's land. We have to respect the price can play in here. A close below this low now, we'd be looking for a very good sell opportunity. But perhaps the lower time frames, we can look for a selling opportunity to get in earlier. We also want to note that on a weekly basis, a daily basis, we are at a resistance trend line currently. So we have a little trial going on right here, and these are key. This is daily trend lines, key support and resistance. Moving down to the 4 hour, you can see that price zone exploded out here. And we're up here on this resistance trend line. And what we're looking at right now is, you see the MACD here? MACD is right near the waterline. It's basically neutral. This could go either way. So as we get down to the lower time frames, we're going to see if there's any kind of divergence, any kind of setup to say this is a trend line break on a shorter time frame that would give us a reason to go long out of this or short at this resistance point. So let's move on down to the 1 hour. And on the 1 hour, you can see we've had this rally up and we're having consolidation. And we're positive. You can see the trend is up from the MACD right here. We're above the water line, so the trend is up. And we're looking like we want to continue to the upside. What we want to be careful though is we go across this trend line. Usually there's a lot of buying and selling going on in here, right? There's the fight between the bulls and the bears. People that are just selling this trend line as resistance automatically, maybe have pre-placed orders. People who have pre-placed orders to buy just on the other side of it. And there can be a lot of consolidation going back and forth. So if we happen to get into a trade on a buy earlier, to continue on up, we want to make sure that we're booking some profit up in here. Once we book that profit, that gives us a lot more confident feeling, as in we're not playing with our money. Our principal is secure. All right, now coming down into the 30-minute, again, there's a lot of potential saying we're moving to the upside. Now, we've had some up and down movement, some rapid up and down movement. I really don't like that. I usually call this kind of price action an anomaly. And what I'll do is I'll go down to a lower time frame and look for a nice trend line. So again, still there's some lot of indications saying to the upside that we're looking for. So when I get down here to the 15-minute, and I'm going to have to continue to track this during Frankfurt and London, I'm just going to come across these highs, these general highs through here. And you can see that it looks like we broke across that trend line and it just really came right back down under it. And just a quick up and down movement, I'm just kind of taking an average of what price is doing through this area. As long as price stays to the upside of this, I'm good. There's a lot of things that are suggesting that we're going to continue to move to the upside. On a bullish candle that closes above this high right here, as you can see on this candle, on a bullish candle that closes above that, I would be interested in getting in long. And then definitely taking some money off the table as we move about 40 pips to the upside up to this resistance line, because it could come right up here and bounce very hard to the downside, maybe take half my position off somewhere in the 40 to 60% range, and then see if it's going to run. Further reason for suggesting that we might have a continued move to the upsides, MACD is at the waterline. We're positive, it's neutral. It said that we had this upward trend. It's basically neutralized, and again, we're looking for continuation out of this long period of consolidation we had back here for the last day or so. So the key point is find a good point to go long. If we break below these lows, I still am not going to go short because I have this big long-term weekly fib right here, this 50. It may come back down here and touch. If it comes back in here and touches and gives me a nice trendline break to the upside, again, I'd be doing the same thing, looking for a buy and then taking some profit up here near this top and then seeing if it's going to continue on to the upside. The euro dollar.